Here's some of the tools for the generic portrait system. As we toggle between these, it will check and look if the entity model has a portrait of the same name in its resources folder with underscore portrait on it and match it up. So here we can see if I click this wandering window, it does not yet have a portrait. So there's some tools to help us with the creation of it. If we hit this generic setup button here, this is a debug to use. So now when I select the wandering widow, it actually will start the setup similar to as if it was a NPC for me. What that does is it automatically instantiates a new spider model, attaches them here to the model root, and also takes care of setting the paper doll layer, the race ID, and the appearance. Those are particularly worth calling out because if I was to manually drag, say, one of the variants onto the model root, which is very common when you're trying to create all of them all at once, if you have like specific rotations and things of that nature, then you got to remember to toggle these fields as well as set that to paper doll, as that will not be done for you. Here we have the camera, so we can move this in. This is an orthographic camera, so it can be at any distance. That would just be the clipping, and the size here is how we control that. So let's maybe something in the 3.5-ish here. You want to get a good bust, and I'm sure we will keep learning new rules and things and style choices that we want for this. I'm going to bring the size even slightly bigger, I think. No, slightly closer. 2 and 3. Maybe I want to try to get its pedipalp and its back in there. So it's going to be kind of a finicky process, of course. So you find a somewhat decent alignment here. Once you're good, you turn on the camera. So now it's going to the portrait render texture. Once you see it in a pose that you find acceptable and everything like that, you can roughly line up, turn it off. Now that's going to be stuck in the portrait texture. Now what we can do is click here on the entity model so that it's able to pull this race ID and appearance information. I can click Eco Tools and Save Target Portrait. So I can see here in my console that it says it saved the spider model widow portrait. So if I go then into my spider folder, and I gotta go out and into Unity, of course, to get that to refresh as well. Here I can open up the picture. So this is my result, and I can see it in my folder. Now I can get real-time feedback if I come back first, go into the game manager, and in the portrait manager I'll turn off generic setup, so it'll no longer, and now it'll do attempt setup and instead attempt loading. Click on a null, and as you can see, as I refresh and come in, I get the new portrait. So now I can see that this alignment isn't great. So I could run through that process, readjust it there, and that is one of the solutions. But additionally, of course, you can come into Photoshop, especially when you bulk like the snakes here, and adjust their transform information to get the right positioning here. So on this particular one, we might need to change. This is going to be a challenging one. Let's just bring it down a little bit and see how that goes. Make this like 170, even maybe a little bit more than that. Let's attempt something like that and see how it looks. So just saving this. When I tap back into Unity, that'll refresh. And I can update it there. So that's the quick and dirty on how to handle it that way. If I go back into scene view, actually, in fact, I kind of want that setup back. So if I escape out generic setup, toggled, click here for it, now I have the spider model here. And now what you can do, say, especially if I decide I want to rotate this, I can do that within the model root here, and then go through the process of bring in the other spider, So that's 105, 7,000. So we turn off our widow. Then the banana must be changed to paper doll. And we are going to change all of its children so that it is visible. The race ID is 105. And then if we want to find this one for the banana, we unfortunately would have to go into our layer model manager here, and we would find, okay, this is the banana at 6,000. So in this field, 600, there's our 6,000. We come to the camera so that we can capture this texture. So we're going to go ahead and render here, and when we think it's in a good position, release. Now I'm going to click that entity model. Now I have that race ID and appearance set. I can click Eco Tools, Save Target Portrait. In my console, you can see that we've saved the banana spider here. And that's all good to go. Unity back in. And now we have a banana spider portrait. So that's the process of going through here. The final step on that then, of course, is if the banana I could drag into here and also adjust that Y transform exactly the same. So that's the process of recreating the portraits. Of course, these can be modified, manipulated as much as we want, and simply looking for this naming conventions, and we'll build them out as we go.